Welcome to a crazy video. This was actually something that a Patreon member suggested that I do, and I've actually been wanting to do it for a couple of months because it sounded like a lot of fun. Of course, you've already seen by the thumbnail, I've challenged myself to paint with the absolute dirt cheapest things I could find. So we'll see how it works, and you can really get a good feel for how does the quality of the brushes and the paint affect the painting or not. So we'll definitely be thoroughly testing that today. The first thing we need to do is take a trip to Hobby Lobby. Now, whether it's Hobby Lobby or Walmart or Michael's or whatever art store, Jerry's, they pretty much have their own version of what I'm about to show you now. So it's pretty well similar, I say, across the board. I checked the reviews on especially the paint set, and they were terrible. So that should make it extra fun. I thought it would be too easy to do acrylics because even if they're terrible, you can always let them dry. If it takes you 30 coats of paint, you'll eventually get where you want to go. But how about wet over wet oils? The consistency of the paint is so important, as well as the pigment, actually. And so this is definitely going to be a disadvantage. All right, let me show you what I got up close. You can see I've got my oil paint set. Oil paint set. Yeah, whole bunch of random colors. I don't know, I'll open this up for you in a second. I've actually got two of them because I did not think that was going to be enough. You can see that they are $5.99. What a good deal. I also have, you're gonna love this, you ready? A set of brushes. Also, can you see that they're $5.99? So I'm gonna unbox those or unpackage those, and I'll let you see what I've got. It looks like 25 brushes for $5. What a deal. Also, I got a 2-inch brush. This 2-inch brush, does it show the price? It does, right there. $2.99 for a 2-inch brush. That's not bad. That's just a little bit over $1 per inch. Pretty good deal. And what's interesting is they actually have a large white. So it's the same brand, this Fine Touch, Master's Touch Fine. Well, I think they're the same brand. Yeah, oil color. I'm pretty sure it's the same brand. But anyway, it was a cheap white. That whole white there cost me $7.99. That's a huge one. So I actually bought one of those. I figured that the white, you know, it's this real tiny little bit of white you get in that set. It's not going to be enough. Now let's unbox these. Oh, look, you can actually see the 12 colors included in the set if you're at all interested in that. So this will be really interesting to see. There's our paint. Wow, it feels creamy. The reviews online said it was really, really creamy. And you know, if you're painting a different kind of style where you're doing a layer or two and allowing it to dry, that might be fine. For wet over wet, creamy is not necessarily a very good thing. All right, let's take a look at those brushes. I'm just gonna dump them all out. We'll see what we got here. All right, what does $5.99 get you? So in other words, this entire brush set costs less than my liner brush. That's a number 6. I'm not gonna go through all these. I'm just gonna give you a quick look if you're interested in kind of seeing them. They've got some sponge brushes. Those will probably be completely useless. I've got, what is that? These little pointy brushes are gonna be probably okay. Synthetic, sir, okay, this, got a bristle brush here. Yeah, some of these little flat ones will be okay. That bristle brush there, that doesn't feel too bad. It's real short. It's real short and stiff. It's a lot stiffer than I want it to be. Yeah, the length of the bristles is what determines how stiff it is. Let's take a look here. Is there anything in here that's interesting? Not really. They're basically the same brush over and over again. That one right there is going to be the best out of the whole set right there. That's going to be your workhorse brush. It's about a number 6 bristle flat, I'd say. Does that? Yep, number 6. Okay, well then I always say the numbers are irrelevant, but they're somewhat relevant, you know, because I thought that was a number 6, and sure enough it was. There's a 3/4 inch flat. Hey, I've got a 3/4 flat. Good. Okay, well, there you go. You got a basic idea. I also, for $5, I got me one of these little brush stands so that I can, you know, put my brushes in the stand. There we go. That looks pretty convenient. Not bad for $5.99. All right, let's take a look here at this. Pull it out of its little sleeve. Obviously, I could have bought a chip brush, but I went with this instead. This is completely nylon, and it's been cut off just flat, straight. I did that on purpose because I thought this would be a lot more miserable to paint with. The chip brush would have been okay. This here is going to be potentially useless. We'll see. Let's also take a look at our big oil. This was the most expensive thing, $7.99, but you know what? You get a really big bottle. I mean, that's like It's a giant tube of paint. That'll be interesting. We'll open it here in a minute. A couple of other quick things. This is a 16 by 20 canvas, and here's the label for it. $6.99. What a good deal. My absolute least favorite size of canvas is a 16 by 20. Just not a big fan. It's barely a rectangle. It's kind of square, but it's not actually square. Not a fan at all. So that's why I got it, because I know most people, most first-time painters use a 16 by 20. Now, believe it or not, we're actually going to start this painting with a piece of cardboard. Just a regular piece of cardboard. And what I'm going to do with the cardboard is I'm going to squirt my paints out on the cardboard. And the reason I'm going to do that is because these paints are going to be creamy. I'm sure they are. So what I'm going to do is, let's see this, oil colored titanium white. Let's give this a try. Oh, look at that. They've got little, like little tabs on there that you got to peel the tabs off. That's interesting. Okay, you don't see that very often. I'm going to, oh, look at that. Oh no. Look at all the oil coming out with it. That's not the end of the world. That's okay. That's creamy, but it's not, oh, that's really creamy. I don't know if it comes through on the, oh, I'm not cheating. I'm using my palette knife. I'm not cheating. That's definitely creamy. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let it sit on the cardboard. I'm gonna squirt out each color on that cardboard. I'm gonna let it sit. And then maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. And what that's going to do is the oil is going to go into the cardboard and it's going to leave me with a firm, dry paint, which is what I want. I really don't want to just blow through this part. We've got a problem here. I want to show you how to fix it. This is way more oil than I was expecting to see. This is crazy. And I think this will work, but it's going to take probably an hour. So I'm going to transfer these to another piece of cardboard where it's got, you know, some fresh paper to soak, because that's all it's doing is soaking. You could use paper towels, shop towels and stuff. I like the cardboard. I'm just going to take, I just want to show you this real quick. I'm just going to take, wow, that is so oily. I'm going to take and just smear it on the cardboard, and I'm going to try to get more contact with the cardboard, more surface area. See that? And that will, it feels like there's going to be some pigment to work with, you know? I want to try to keep my blues together. I should have done that to begin with. No Prussian blue, by the way. That stinks. Phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. Not necessarily my first picks. That phthalo blue does not look bad, but I just want to show you. I'm going to do this with all the colors. And that way there, hopefully I can finish this process in about 15 minutes more of waiting once I get them on the cardboard. All right, I'm going to give these paints a check. The brown is not done. I noticed that a couple of these colors are finishing faster than others. The white feels like it's almost done. The brown was not even close. I'm not going to paint with them until they're correct, though, because the last thing I want is something that's oily. It's not going to work right. I just know it's not. So we're going to make sure they're at the right consistency, even if I have to wait longer, or I'll start painting without that color. I hope you get a very good appreciation for why it's so nice to get paint that you squirt it out on the palette and you're ready to go. I probably wasted, you know, half an hour to get up to this point by the time I went to find a box, cut it apart, put all my paints out. I've wasted a half an hour. I've not even started painting yet. Yeah, this is just clearly for fun. That white is right on the edge. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to use half of it. I'm not totally happy with it. I don't need that much white anyways, but I'd rather have more than not enough, because then I'm going to have to stop and put some more on a piece of paper towel or cardboard, and it's going to take a long time. All right, I think we're ready to start painting. Now, I've got a little cup of walnut oil. there was no, I could use linseed oil. I wasn't going to buy linseed oil. There's no cheap alternative. It just is what it is. I'm actually going to put that right there for now. And then let me start with my with my 2-inch brush. Here we go. You know what? I want my brushes back. Let's take some of our white. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is awful. I'm going to use just a tiniest touch of that walnut oil. And here we go. I'm actually going to put the walnut oil flat on my table. You could use linseed oil. Walnut oil is definitely not the cheapest, but it's completely irrelevant. There we go. I'm just going to paint a classic mountain scene. Very simple, maybe a little mountain, some trees, a little river going through the middle. Something that's very normal, nothing that's technically difficult, just because it's a beginner painting. I'm trying to see, like, okay, if I was a brand new beginner and I didn't want to get the nicer art supplies, I wanted to get just whatever was the cheapest. How much more impossible does it make it? So far, it's too early to tell, except for the paint. That was so annoying having to do that. I also have a roll of shop towels. You're not going to find anything cheap. You get an old t-shirt if you're trying to save money, I guess. Interesting. I've never painted with a nylon brush like this before. Not a 2-inch nylon. Very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and take just a little bit of our, that's not Prussian, that's ultramarine, I guess. Take a little bit of our ultramarine, a little bit of phthalo. Where's my red? Oh, it's down there. I gotta get my red. I forgot about my red. Put my red there. I don't know what kind of red, what red is. I've got my scarlet. I've got my colors down here so I can actually see what the names are. Oh, what is this? That was too creamy. That was crimson. All right, let me take just a little bit of our crimson to add to that. It's not alizarin crimson, just crimson. Don't know if it makes any difference. All right. That blue is wild looking. Let me see what we can do here. Okay. This is crazy. It feels so weird. So far, oh, it's really cutting through. It's not bad though. This is definitely doable. Sorta. Now it's quite obvious I'm going to get something that looks good by the end of this. If I have to spend the next 24 hours on this painting, I'm going to get something that looks good. But what you need to ask yourself is it worth it? I'm going to tell you right now, it's not worth it. Oh, so if you're looking to buy art materials, do not. You don't even have to wait for the end of the video for my opinion. Do not go with the cheapest ones you can find. Get something that has very good quality. And of course, I'll link my high quality stuff down in the description below. It's on the website if you want to go check that out. There we go. Wow. Very interesting. The brush is more of a problem than the paint. This brush is literally terrible. A chip brush is going to be better than this. Way better. Now I'm going to take a shop towel, just crumpled up shop towel, and I'm going to rub and try to get as much of this paint off as possible. And that's going to allow me to float my clouds over. Just going to do some super simple clouds today. The other nice thing here is I'm able to get a better blend with my shop towel than I was with that crazy stiff nylon brush. Let's just give it a real light wipe. I shouldn't be using a paper towel. Should be using a shop towel, but I'm just real light. So it's okay. It's a little scratchy in here, and I'm struggling to take care of that. Because this brush is, I don't know if it's coming through in the camera, but this thing is so stiff. You might as well be using, a palette knife almost. I've got a few choices for making clouds. I think this one right here might be good. I'm going to save this one to blend because that's my only halfway large hog bristle brush, natural bristle brush. I could use this one. That's natural as well. I think that might be camel hair. I'm not totally sure. It's really kind of falling apart already. I'm going to try this one. I'm going to take some white, a little clean spot to work, a little bit of our whatever red that is, Ooh, it's not very strong. Oh, well, strong enough. Whoops, too strong. There we go. All right, let's try that. Try that and see what, I'll go a little bit more. Oh, I've got plenty of white, but the problem is I've got to think ahead because if I run out of white, I'm gonna need to squirt it on the paper towel or cardboard again, like 20 minutes in advance. So I have to think ahead. All right, we got our light coming in like this. Let's go ahead and create just a few basic, pillowy, white, soft clouds. Oh, that's actually very pretty. That's going on very well. Very, very well. Still, I think I probably should have let the paint dry a little longer. It's a little creamier than I would like, but it's definitely usable. It's definitely usable, as you can see there. This canvas is doing an okay job. If you saw my canvas test video, you'll know that this canvas did okay. It did just that. It did okay. Not great. Some of the others were a lot better, but we're sticking with the Hobby Lobby super cheap theme. There we go. And again, it could be Walmart. Actually, I almost did this from Walmart, but I ended up at Hobby Lobby instead. You can do it from Michael's, Jerry's, doesn't really matter. All right, so far I'm really liking this 3/4 brush. It's doing enough for me. Let's go ahead and mix up a quick color. I'm going to mix together some blue, whatever blue, the ultramarine, whatever that crimson color. That looks really purple. We're going to add a little bit of burnt, or what is that burnt umber? I don't know. Brown. Add a little brown to it. Let's see what that does. That brown's a little on the creamy side, but we're going to be wiping this off. It'll be okay. Let's take some of this. I should have bought a cheap palette knife. I didn't really think about it. I'm using my palette knife. It's the only thing I'm using that's actually my stuff. There we go. Because palette knife's not really like, unless you're painting with it, you know. Now, if I was going to do the mountain with the palette knife, or if I was going to do any painting on the canvas, I would definitely have purchased one. Oh, that black. That black. That's not got a lot of pigment in it. It's may or may not come through in the video. That black is weak. There we go. And you might be wondering, it's black. How could it be weak? You know, I don't understand the weak versus, I'll get a phthalo blue in there. Why not? I don't like phthalo blue. How do they make paint weak? I mean, how is that even a possibility? Well, here's what they do. They'll add marble dust. Marble dust. And you can buy it yourself if you're going to make your own paint. It's actually a very important ingredient. Without marble dust, your paints are going to be unusable. They're going to be unusable for landscape painting. They're okay for portraits or other things, I'm sure, but not for landscape painting. And the reason for that is the marble dust is transparent. It looks white, but it's actually transparent. And so that marble dust, and it's very, very, very cheap compared to the pigment itself. You know, titanium white versus marble dust. Marble dust is so cheap. And so that's why it's there. It's a filler. And it's useful. But that black, I believe, I'm not a scientist. I'm just going by kind of what I've learned, but it feels really, really weak on the pigment side of things. Just been up here for the last probably 20 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know. Just painting details on our little mountain. Don't need to go overboard. This is just a background mountain after all. It's part of the painting, but it's not the biggest part of the painting. You know, it's there, but it's not critical, which is nice. It's kind of nice. I've got a lot of small little synthetic flat brushes, and that's pretty much what I'm utilizing to get my edges here to the mountain. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think there's really no reason to, might as well just, that's kind of a chiseled edge brush. There's no reason to worry about, I got so many brushes, just grab a new one, you know. Okay, let's take some ochre, some whatever red that is. That looks more like cad red to me. Let's take some of our burnt umber, some white. I'm just looking for a, wow, that burnt umber has got a lot of yellow. Usually the burnt umber kind of cools things down and almost like enhances the yellow of the yellow ochre in that mix. Very interesting. And that's not a problem with the paint. That's just a difference in the paint. See, some of this, I will be honest with you, some of this is going to be just a matter of difference. Not that it's better or worse, it's just different. And if you painted for years and years and years with the same thing, to change it, even if you changed it for something of the same quality, would be hard. Just the fact of having a change. If I went and I bought some gambling and I changed, just colors alone, I'd be like, oh, this is horribly hard. But if you painted with that palette of color for a year, well, that wouldn't be hard at all, would it? It's the same thing going on here as well. I just want to get a little feeling of some of these brown tones there, because I don't want this all snow. I want some of this to be exposed rock face as well. I think that's so pretty. Now I'm going to come right in here and begin to work in some trees, little tiny trees. I think this is an appropriate brush. Actually, this is one of those, we can't tell now, it's one of the white nylon hairs. It's this kind. There's, I think, 4 different kinds of bristles. These are my least favorite so far. I like this yellowy color bristle much better. It's a lot softer. I'm not sure why I'm using it. It was just in my hand. I was using it on the mountain and realized the difference between those bristles now. They both felt soft, but this is a lot springier. When I say stiff, what I'm trying to say is everything is very soft as hair, but what I mean is it's very springy, and that is not a good thing. What it does is pushes right through the paint and cuts right through, so I should probably stop using it. Honestly, I can tell it's not doing what I want. Let's try something else. Kind of want a little flat brush that is in all this. You would think I would find one that I would want. Oh, here it is, right here. I wish they had more of these. Let's try this. It's a little narrow though. Let's try it. Let's try it. Oh yeah, it's better. Do you see the difference? See how it's painting better? So it's got a little more. Anyway, you can see it's going on darker. So anyway, we're just going to play around here for a few minutes, creating some of these little trees, a little forest crawling up the face of the mountain. There is a secret to this. You want to know what the secret is? Use plenty of color. If you do not have enough color, this is not going to look interesting. The secret to making something look professional is to have a lot of color. I'm almost out of white here. Let me go ahead and just take some, I'm gonna get some color here, and I'm going to paint in some grassy bits. Oh, I definitely need more white. That's okay. I've got a little bit on the cardboard ready to go. There, isn't that pretty? Wow, look at that little meadow back there. That'll work. That'll work. This was interesting. The paint was okay. The brushes were terrible. So if you watch on that full version, you kind of see me struggle around a little bit, trying all kinds of different. I ended up with, what did I do with that brush? I guess, it was this one right here. I ended up with this round brush, and I mushed it on the paper towel and broke it up open like that. And I ended up using that to try to get some of my little details, but it was not easy. Comparatively, my little stiff bristle brush, basically a chip brush, but shorter. Not a good thing. The longer, the better. It's softer. There, lots of color. Now I've got probably the best brush, that flat, natural bristle brush. Wish it was a little longer, but we're gonna make it work for sure. I'm gonna make everything work here. I probably should try those foam brushes before we're done, just so that I could say, I've tried them. My goodness, I paid for them. If you break it up, they're probably 10 cents. Gotta make sure we use them. Got to try them. I'm just gonna build in some trees here. Nothing too fancy, but nothing too simple either. We'll have a nice balance. I think just a simple, balanced little painting, just to show off kind of the difference. The difference is what would happen if you went to the extreme. What would happen if you went to the extreme? I will say this, having a lot of color is nice. You can kind of, if you want a blue-green, you can grab it. Those are nice things. I have a very limited palette, and I'm always mixing Probably get a better effect by mixing though, because when you mix, it comes out a little different every time. Whereas this, you pick it up off the palette pre-mixed, it's always gonna be the same, you know? This is very interesting here. This is definitely interesting. I'm just finishing up some detail here on these little trees. I don't need a lot of detail, just enough to show that there are some branches. I've just been using various colors. I think the different colors are really pretty. It helps to have more than one color going on in these trees. You know, the biggest problem with these brushes, I'll tell you what, isn't so much the quality of the materials. It's that they didn't do one little thing to the brush that makes it really difficult. All of them is when the hairs go up on the brush, they go up, and on a good brush, it'll taper in. These hairs are shorter. These hairs are taller. But on these brushes, they come up and they've been cut straight. Every one of them has been cut straight. It's very easy to see on this brush. Now, I want to do a couple things here to the water. First of all, I'm going to try my foamy brush. Yay. Let's see. I just got to try it. Maybe I'm just going to try to do some water lines with it or something. Take a little bit of blue-gray, white. No idea. I've never painted with a foamy brush before in any oil painting. I'm not sure anybody's painted with a foamy brush for oil painting. There's probably a good reason for that. Let's go ahead and try. Oh my goodness, can you believe you're watching this? Oh no. Hey, you know what? Because it kind of comes to a point. It's the only thing in this set that's got a point to it, an edge. It's actually working really pretty decent. Oh, that's just silly. Okay, it's starting to mix there, but it's not bad. Wipe that off and keep going. Just a real light touch in there. Oh yeah, that's good. I don't want too much of this because I don't want it to come too forward. Drag some of that dark over. There we go. Now I've got a paint here that's relatively thin. I've got some oil in it, walnut oil, relatively thin. I can't think of a better way to do this with what I've got to work with. So I'm just gonna thin it down and hope to get some grassy effect. I tried to do it with this brush. It was not working. This brush is making horrible grass. It's too short. It's too short, it's too stiff, and it cuts right through the paint. So I'm going with this. This is the softest brush that I have of any size. I could use one of these, but I don't think, I think it might be a little much. So I'm trying to get just some liner brush. There's no liner brush in my value paint set. So I'm trying to get some grassy. I guess I should have done a painting with less foreground grass, but really I didn't need, I was just making this up. Just making it up. You know, from stuff I've painted for the last 15 years. It's not that I'm truly making it up. You know, I've done this before. You know, when you do something that's similar to what you've done before, you can always easily make changes. But yeah, anyway, the point is here, oh, I think this is working. I think. If this gets too slippery, we can always put a shop towel on it and blot it, I think. Should be okay. I'm assuming it'll be okay. Well, now we're gonna work on getting some of these rocks highlighted, and I've got this, as you can see here, quite thin down on one of my soft, I think it's camel hair brushes. And there we go. Boom, boom, boom. That looks pretty good. Yeah, just a few. I don't need these real bright or real distinct. I can always add more little blue, little shading. That ultramarine blue there is about the best thing I've got. The other one looks kind of like a cobalt blue, doesn't it? It just says blue, I think. Yep, blue and, oh no, it's phthalo. Phthalo blue, that doesn't look much like phthalo blue, does it? Anyway, I'm just gonna have to put in a lot of color, and I couldn't use one of these other brushes. It was too stiff. That was way too stiff. So I had to go with this one, which is actually too soft, and that's why I'm having to thin it down. So there are workarounds to everything, but this is definitely a lot more work than I would have suspected. Can I make it work? Obviously, I've got a painting. I'd happily hang this painting on my wall in my house, and I may do that. But, and I would sell this painting, I guess, if these oils are, I hope the oils are okay. But you know what? This is a lot harder than it should be. So the tools are not everything. Your skill and your learning is most important. However, having the right tools is a huge, huge thing when you're learning, because you could be fighting your supplies and not have 20 years, 15, 20 years of painting experience that can get you out of it. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. I've got this paint thinned down, trying to add in a highlight here, really. It's going okay, I guess. Oh no. I feel like the background was easier. The foreground has been a little more of a struggle. But we're gonna make it work. I've got this paint so thinned down, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just gonna keep going, making little bits of progress here. Building up these layers of grass until I get something that I think is gonna work. And this is actually getting there. We're actually getting there, a little more yellow. Kind of hard not to get those little clumpy tops, but that's okay, I guess. It's not bad. Make sure you go different directions so that you don't have a symmetrical problem. And then I've got my tiniest little brush. I don't know if I can do anything with it, but I'm gonna try. Liner brush wise, you know, I don't know if that'll do a thing or not. Let's try it. Not really. It's okay. I'm just kind of cutting through the paint that's already there, but at least I'm getting some blade of grass kind of shapes. Yeah, it's better than nothing. Now I've got some white thinned down on this little bristle brush, and I'm simply stippling on some flowers. There we go. It's actually a little warm white. Put a little red in it just to do something, to change it. Let me see. Nope. Let me find a clean brush. Got plenty of them. Take a little bit of this, and I just want to, yeah, just get a, oh, well, how about if I go like this? Yeah, just get a little feeling of, just a little bit of flowers or something. I don't know that I've got a lot of options here, but yeah, there we go. It just looks like flowers. Little white flowers, any kind you want this to be, that's fine. Well, that wraps things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This was certainly a little bit different, but I enjoyed the subject. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, brush line, and Patreon. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.